Hey party people, this is Zeke from Replicate, which is now a part of Cloudflare. We teamed up with Cloudflare in December 2025, and we are going to build the best platform for doing AI stuff on the internet, period. Today, I want to talk to you about a problem that we all face, FOMO, the fear of missing out. So everybody experiences this to some degree, but if you are a software developer in 2026, you're probably overwhelmed by just how quickly everything is changing in the world of software development. The AI models are changing really fast, the tooling is changing really fast, the process is changing really fast, and it's easy to feel left behind. So what I want to talk about today is my new favorite AI coding tool, which is called OpenCode, and how you can use that to build stuff on Cloudflare. So let's talk a little bit about Cloudflare's developer platform before we get too deep here. So you have probably used Cloudflare to some degree over the years as a software developer. You've probably heard of Workers, that's the serverless runtime platform. You've probably heard of R2, which is like the modern version of S3 that has no egress fees, but has an S3 compatible API. Maybe you've heard of D1, which is like the um, SQLite in the cloud that Cloudflare offers. But there's like over 100 of these products on the Cloudflare developer platform. There's vector data stores, there's billing APIs, there's browser rendering tools, there's sandbox environments for running code in isolation. All this really cool stuff, but it's really easy to feel FOMO about what you can do on Cloudflare because there's so many different capabilities and so many different products. So that's where OpenCode comes in. So if you haven't heard of OpenCode, it's an open source AI coding agent similar to Claude Code or OpenAI's Codex CLI. But what's really exciting about it is that it's open source, it's moving really fast, and you can bring whatever model you want. You can bring Anthropic models, you can bring OpenAI models, you can bring Gemini models, you can bring models that are running on your own machine. It's very flexible. Also, you can clone the repo down to your own machine for open code, inspect it, and even have an open code session talking to your open code source code. So definitely one of those kind of inception moments in playing with AI software. Anyway, on the left here, I have the OpenCode terminal user interface. It's called a 2E. Maybe people have known about 2Es for a long time. I'd never heard of one until, 6 months ago or something. But, we've got GUIs and now we've got 2Es. So the way you run OpenCode is literally just after you install it, you have this thing called OpenCode that you can run from your terminal, and it opens up this session, and you can ask something like, what kinds of things can I do with Cloudflare sandboxes? And I have this configured to be able to sort of do custom research on Cloudflare. So I have this thing called the Cloudflare docs search installed in OpenCode. So of course it could just do a regular old, web fetch Google search type thing here, which actually it is. It's kind of doing both. So um, what it's doing here is kind of like using tools to do a bit of research and help me understand um, what sandboxes are and how to use them. Um, so what's really exciting here is um, I could actually start chatting with this thing to get into a state of actually building a working piece of software. So right now we're in plan mode where all we're doing is just kind of like essentially it's a conversation between me and the agent about what's going on. But as we progress, we start to get towards actually coming up with a plan for how to implement some working software. And you can come into this thing with basically zero knowledge of how Cloudflare works, zero knowledge of the products, but say things like, I want to build a web server. I want it to use, Node APIs. I want to have storage, and it'll say things like, okay, well, what kind of storage? Do you want to use Cloudflare key value storage, or do you want to use the cache, or do you want to use D1? And it'll help you through that process of sort of determining which products are appropriate for your use case. And then it'll actually help you write the freaking code for the thing. So okay, I'm getting too excited. Um, what I have here for you is a blog post that I wrote about how to get yourself set up with an open code installation that works well on Cloudflare. So it's actually, there's not actually a lot to it. It's basically you sign into Cloudflare, you create an account. You can use your like Google, Apple, or GitHub account to do single sign-on. And it's really free to like, Cloudflare has really generous free limits. So you can kind of do quite a lot on Cloudflare before you actually start getting charged for anything. And then you essentially use Cloudflare's CLI to authenticate on your command line. You install OpenCode. You add these things called MCP servers, which are basically just tools that sort of connect into your large language model so it can sort of access external resources and do more than just have a chat conversation with you. Then you start up OpenCode and you basically just start having a conversation like, can I use Cloudflare to process emails? Um, so I wrote a little one-liner, npx zeek sweet open code. If you run this in your terminal, it's basically a wizard that will take you through the process of setting up open code, installing all the right MCP servers. And when you're done with it, you'll have an open code setup similar to this, where you can ask all kinds of questions and get really useful answers about what's possible on Cloudflare today. So I will follow up with some more interesting videos about actually jumping into one of these sessions and building something. But for now, I just wanted to show you how you yourself can get set up on OpenCode to start playing around with Cloudflare and seeing what you can build. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.